Hi everybody, I'm really excited that you are here today. My name is Carly, I'm a sewist here on YouTube, and today I'm going to be answering all of your questions. Let's do it! Hey guys, it's me from the future. I just sat down to fully watch my video before posting it and I just feel like it's the smallest smidge out of focus. I used a different camera for this video so that you could see all of my room and my machines. But I just think the focus is like slightly off in some bits and I'm just really sorry, and I just wanted to let you know that it was an accident and I fully edited it and I didn't realise, and yeah, I apologise. And if it's really bad, maybe you can just listen to it like a podcast. Sorry. I hope you enjoyed the video still. These were all submitted to me on my Instagram, by the way. The first question is, how did you start your business? Basically in 2020 I learned how to crochet and I started selling my crochet jumpers and cardigans to my friends and family in 2021. Just to earn a little bit of extra cash, and I started posting about it online, and then I learned how to sew and started posting about that, and it all just slowly started snowballing into a big creative interest, and here I am today. I sell my pieces on my website. I make one-of-a-kind special handmade pieces mainly made out of secondhand material and scraps. There's lots of patchworking and colour and fun. And that's my main gig now, as well as YouTube, and I have a beautiful Patreon community, and obviously my social media platforms running in the background too. How long have you been sewing for? I really started getting into sewing in 2021, but I did technically do a few sewing projects before then. I sewed a little bit in around 2017, 2018, and it was pretty dodgy. And I kind of stopped because I was a bit disheartened by it all. And in 2020 I bought my Singer Heavy Duty, which is an awesome domestic machine. That really got me started on my sewing journey. There's a few answers there, but really I started learning how to sew in 2021, so it's been a few years now. Next question, how old are you? I'm 25. Favourite show? Probably The Office, although I'm not a hardcore fan. I like it though. What's your personal style like? My personal style is very influenced by what I would like to have worn as a kid. Sparkly pink jeans, anything with horses on it, comfortable, climbing clothes, tomboy style, anything that reminds me of Anne of Green Gables. It's a big mixing pot of childhood nostalgia and fun. As I'm growing older though, I definitely am becoming more interested in vintage style, really well-made pieces, classic feminine silhouettes, as well as like really oversized silhouettes. I don't even know, man. There's no rhyme or reason at this stage, but the guiding force of all of my style decisions is just whether I enjoy wearing it. So there's a lot of ugly stuff in my closet that I just love on my body, so it stays. And I think that's the best way to make style decisions in my opinion. Okay, did you study fashion? No, I did not. I'm self-taught. Basically, all of my knowledge has come from beautiful YouTubers like with Wendy and the Essentials Club, and I've done almost all of my learning here online. So thank you, YouTube. These days I've been doing a lot more learning on Skillshare and through textbooks as well. I am a little envious of fashion students though. I feel like I want to learn so much more, but I just don't know if tertiary education is for me again. I just don't know, man. Were you in a different job or career field before this? If so, what was the transition like? Yes, I've had a few jobs in my adult life. I worked for a few years in a bridal formal wear store, and that's where I became initially kind of excited about clothes and construction. And then I was lucky enough to get a job at the theatre in my town, working as an usher, and that's how I got really obsessed with musical theatre. So I kind of went down that road for a little bit. I studied in that field and I worked in that field for a little while performing around Australia, and then COVID came and took away the gig that I was working on, and it was time for a pivot. I think the transition between my theatre jobs and this job that I have now was a little bit clunky. Also, it was kind of possible because I was already freelancing and juggling lots of different gigs to cover all of my expenses. So kind of adding From Carly B as another trickle of income felt fine because I had eggs in other baskets as well. And as time went on, I started taking a step back from all of my acting jobs and pursuits, and it kind of just left me with From Carly B. So it wasn't necessarily like I'm quitting my 9-to-5 and I'm going all into From Carly B. It was kind of like a lot of things were going on, and then slowly we're here now. So yeah, I've had a few different jobs, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more jobs in my life too. I enjoy a pivot, and I really enjoy the idea of we can start something new at any time, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I try and listen to what I'm passionate about and honor that as much as possible. Obviously, I know I'm coming from a place of privilege because I don't have a family or kids or anyone to take care of at this stage of my life. So I'm kind of allowed to go for it. There's not really any rules, and we're all making it up as we go along. So kind of fun. What is your goal as a designer? I feel like I'm wearing two hats at the moment, and one is my design aesthetic for my business, and one is stuff that I want to learn and get better at. In terms of this realm, stuff that I want to get better at, I really want to understand tailoring better, and I want to get better at my technical construction, especially in pattern drafting, draping, and design. I'd like to make more fitted garments, maybe with like pleats and just cool architectural moments. And yeah, I just want to keep developing that proficiency there so that I can incorporate some of these more technical elements into my design aesthetic. But speaking about my design aesthetic, it really does just come into whatever is joyous and exciting to me. I love patchwork. I love it with my whole being and heart. I very much enjoy sourcing and working with secondhand textiles. So those two things I think will always be at the bedrock of my design aesthetic. Overall, I just want to make really fun clothing that feels joyous and exciting to wear. Maybe when you wear it, it brings back a certain memory or an emotion, or it can really make your experience whilst wearing it lovely. I don't know. I just want to make pieces that are treasured by the people that wear them. Also, I think it's awesome if it has puff sleeves, and I think it's awesome if you can do a twirl in it. And I do let those two factors lead me a lot of the time. Definitely like making goofy things, and I would like to lean into that more in the future. Goofy, crazy, funny, silly, exciting. Okay, next question please. Is it worth investing in a Juki machine? I have a few thoughts on this. Firstly, the Juki industrial machine is the best thing that's ever happened to my sewing journey. I have the Juki DDL 8700. I adore it with my whole being, and I bought it as an upgrade from my Singer Heavy Duty. For me, 110% worth it. Life-changing, game-changing, incredible. However, it's pretty expensive, so I only would recommend it to people who are sewing a lot and really do want to up the reliability of the machine. I think for reference, I spent about 300 Australian on my Singer Heavy Duty and about 2,000 Australian on my Juki. So it was a big purchase for me, for sure. But for the amount that I was sewing, this has just been incredible. These machines are great. They can do everything. But if you sew on domestic, you know they just kind of jam up every now and then. The bobbin runs out. There's just a lot of little nitpicky fixes you make as you're doing a garment. But honestly, my Juki is smooth sailing. Like I don't think I've ever gotten a broken needle on it. It just runs and I just don't even have to think about it, which is so incredible. It's got an automatic bobbin winder, so you always have a second bobbin that's always ready to go. I love it. It makes everything so fast and efficient. Also, the stitches look so clean, which I love. I could talk a lot about this, and I do actually have a full YouTube video about the differences between the two machines, so check that out if you're interested. But yeah, the Juki is so much faster, so much more reliable, and it's an absolute workhorse, and I love it. It does only do a straight stitch, but what more do you really need if you have an overlocker? Kind of incredible. But hey, if you've got a domestic, that will absolutely get everything done as well. These guys are awesome. So whatever your pocket allows, that's great. As long as you're sewing, that's the best part. Even hand sewing is great. It's just fun to be sewing. Is there anything you are too scared to make, like stretchy things or zippers? I don't think there's anything I'm too scared to make. But there are definitely things that I steer away from because I don't enjoy it. Stretchy materials is one of those things. I don't really love working with stretchy material, although I would like to learn how to make my own underwear and swimwear, so I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet soon. But yeah, There's things that I want to get better at, but I don't think things that I'm too scared to try. Yeah. Someone asks me where I look for inspiration when I want to create stuff. I very rarely sit down with the intention to find inspiration for a project. Very often throughout the process of life, I'll see something that's inspiring and I'll just like do a little sketch. And so often there'll be a few things in my journal that I'm already thinking about making, and that makes it a little bit easier when you want to sit down and sew. But in terms of gathering inspiration, I just love looking at what people are wearing on the streets. It's so inspiring to me what people put together. I love Pinterest. I love Instagram and TikTok. My phone is just full of screenshots of people's outfits and textures I like and colors I like. And all of that kind of culminates into inspiration for me. The next question says, sewing machine always blocks. What can you do? That's the worst. I'm so sorry. Machines blocking up so annoying. I can't necessarily fix your problem, but change the needle. Also, try and use the right needle for your project. Make sure you don't have any lint or thread stuck in your bobbin case. That can be a problem. Also, make sure your bobbin is winded correctly. Sometimes it can be a bit weird. Also, check that everything is threaded correctly. Maybe your thread is a really low quality. Sometimes my machine doesn't like a low quality thread. And also just check all of your settings are right. Your tension, your stitch length, what stitch you're on. All of these things can kind of get mumble-jumbled sometimes, and it's just good to go back, reset everything, and make sure everything is good to go. If in doubt, open all of your little screws and whatnots and give it a really good brush and a really good blow and try and get as much dust out of that little case as possible, because it always gets dusty in there. This question is just, your studio setup? I think I need to do a studio tour soon, but I am moving out, so I think I'm gonna wait until I move out and get settled in again, and then I'll show you. How did you start doing commissions for people? What was your first one? I honestly can't really remember. I think I was doing commissions for my bubble stitch jumpers, and maybe a friend or two asked for a dress when I started sewing. It really was just friends and family that got me into it, and then very slowly little requests started coming in, and I said yes to everything that I could. Even though I wasn't incredible at sewing at the beginning, people were very kind and my prices were pretty cheap. I want to believe that it equaled out. These days I don't take customs on because I don't really enjoy doing them, if I'm being very honest. Maybe I'll get back to it one day, but they're a little bit stressful, and I definitely do just enjoy making something one of a kind that I really love and then just putting it out into the world and hoping someone loves it too. But yeah, if you're getting into commissions, friends and family is a great place to start because they're very forgiving. What fills your creative tank? Aside from all of the inspiration points that I touched on earlier, I really do enjoy just finishing a project and doing a good job. Every time I make something, I just want it to be even better quality than the last thing that I made. And just the feeling of, oh, I did that, really spurs me on towards the next thing. Do you have another job, or is this your full-time? This is my full-time, baby. It's very scary, but it's very fun. For those that are interested though, my full-time for this business is split up into a few different income streams. There's kind of content creator work on Instagram and TikTok. There's sponsorships for YouTube. There's YouTube revenue. There's Patreon. I love you, patrons. You guys are the best. You're the best! Oh, and there's also my website revenue, of course, which comes from all of the sales of my garments and that sort of thing. So it's not just one thing, it's quite a few things. And I'm always kind of searching for things that make this full-time as stable as possible to reduce the stress of it. Do you sell patterns of your projects? No, I don't. I don't know how to make patterns, and I do not want to learn how to make patterns at this stage. It seems very complicated and mathematical, and I wouldn't want to do a bad job of it, to put it simply. I do, however, make really detailed journal entries for my patrons every month of a project that they want to see more about. Whether it's like a dress or a jumper or whatever pants, I'll either make it again and photograph the process, or I'll draw out a bunch of diagrams with measurements and explanations of how I made it and just give them every single piece of information I possibly can so that it's hopefully achievable to recreate and self-draft your own version of it. It's not really a pattern, but it is as close as it comes for my projects. Not to give you the full sales pitch, but it's kind of a good deal too, because if you sign up on Patreon, you can get all of the pattern breakdowns that I've already made, download them, and get out of there if you want. I'd love if you stayed, but you can in theory. Just get everything that I've created for the price of 1 month. Up to you what you do with that knowledge. Tips for creating your own patterns. Hey, I think it's really helpful and important to familiarize yourself with the shapes of just generic things, like a bodice block or a sleeve. You can do this by making other people's patterns. I highly recommend supporting small pattern designers and makers and just making their stuff. The more stuff you make, just the better you get at understanding the construction of things. By no means I'm saying go and copy other people's patterns. I'm just saying when you make other people's patterns, you will learn from them. You will learn so much. I've also been fortunate enough to find a few cool textbooks at the op shop that talk about pattern drafting and fashion design and that sort of thing, and I just devoured those. They are so cool when I want to kind of refresh how to do something, like a technique or whatever. I will always be able to find what I'm looking for in those textbooks. It's absolutely awesome. And yeah, as a kinesthetic learner, I can only recommend just giving it a go. If you want to make something, do it. Do a bad job and you will learn. Literally, you can't go wrong. Even if you make a terrible thing, you will have learned what not to do. So I say just go for it and do your best. See what happens. What made you start YouTube? My little brother encouraged me to start YouTube. I was trying to develop my business and see if I could get any more income streams happening. Yeah, and he gave me the push to do it, and he helped me edit and shoot the first 10 or so videos, and that really got the ball rolling for me. It wasn't something that I necessarily was excited to do. He kind of just encouraged me to, and then just held me accountable to the idea. So I'm really thankful for that. And once I kind of ripped the band-aid off and had made a handful of videos, it became a lot easier. I don't have a lot of good advice, honestly, but something that I know is helpful in my life is just starting stuff. If I think about it too much, or if I want to make it super perfect, I just won't do it. I straight up just won't do it. So I try and start as I am. This question, design blocks, how do you handle them? Solving motivation. That's how it's phrased. When there's something in my brain but I still want to sew, I'll just try and make someone else's pattern and super enjoy their creation. I find that just a little sweet treat for my brain. I get to relax and just sit back and know that the process is going to turn out good because they made it good. Sometimes I like to pivot to another art form like crocheting or knitting. That can be cool. But hey, how do I handle them? Pretty poorly. When I get down, honestly. It can be really hard, and I'll need to talk to my boyfriend about it for a long time before I may feel confident and inspired again, and I think that's pretty human. But yeah, I definitely get design blocks. They can be super disheartening, and I don't really have any good tips or tricks. I think most artists go through burnout and disappointment and fatigue, and you kind of just have to wait it out sometimes. But hey, that's life. It's ups and downs, and we can't have the ups without the downs. And that's okay. This question is, you're a Christian, right? I am a Christian. Yes. What are some things you wish others knew about you? I have no idea. Well, I don't really think I wish that anyone knows anything about me, but you can have this information that I've always wanted to own a horse. And I feel very emotional about the existence of horses in this world. If any of you need someone to pat your horses, just let me know. I will happily oblige. Where do you source your fabrics? Mainly, the op shop. I look for high quality cottons, linens, pillowcases, bed sheets, quilt covers, etc. And I give them a very hearty wash and I use them. I buy some fabrics from fabric stores. Very rarely do I do that for my business these days. Mainly I will buy from a fabric store if there is a specific project that I want to make for myself. My favorite fabric store is called The Fabric Store. Their fabrics are divine and beautiful, and I cherish every time I get to shop there. Sometimes I buy from Spotlight or Lincraft. I'm always just looking out, like if there's friends or family that are selling fabric, maybe on Facebook Marketplace, or if there's like a little market in town, always keeping my eyes peeled. And the great thing about fabric is that it doesn't have to be beautiful long lengths of fabric. You can literally just find a really cool shirt at the op shop, and that might give you like a meter of fabric or a half a meter of fabric. You can cut it up, use it, different shapes, different layouts. Like, you can just get creative with it. There's a lot of wastage in this world, and if you want to shop secondhand, that is awesome. There is so much potential in the op shop. I just can't say it enough. I feel like I've been talking for a really long time, so I'm going to finish up with this last question. What are your career goals for the next 5 years? These days, I'm not really a person that sets a lot of goals. I know that sounds kind of sad and pathetic, but honestly, I find it extremely liberating, and it makes me feel inspired to actually just do stuff and see what happens. It isn't really the career that I envisioned myself doing, so I'm super happy just taking it day by day. But in 5 years' time, I really hope that my technical proficiency has developed so much. I just want to get a lot better at sewing and making clothes. I just want to get so good at it. I'm super obsessed with this craft. Sewing is just so exciting to me, and yes, I just want to keep learning and making stuff. So that is what I want from the next year and the next many years. And honestly, just being able to make a living doing something that I'm super passionate about is just an absolute win. So anything on top of that is just straight up kicking goals. Well, hey, I don't really know if I answered any of those questions very well, but I was very excited to talk about sewing with you all. So I hope it was fun. Thank you for asking all of your questions. I love getting to hang out with you and spend time with this awesome community. As always, please let me know how your projects are going in the comments. What are you working on? How is it going? What projects are you wanting to do in the future? Tell me all about it. Anyway, I've been talking for ages, so thank you for your time. I appreciate every single one of you. And I hope you have an amazing week. Thank you for being here. I'm sending lots of love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!